I was listening to
Michael Barbaro. This is The Daily.
Sunday Read the other day about the inevitable climate migration in America, and it provided me an answer to a question I've often thought about, which is, will Hollywood always stay in Hollywood? Hollywood has been the world's epicenter of entertainment for well over a century. Aspiring filmmakers who suffered under the tyrannical patent rule of Thomas Edison in New Jersey sought to evade physical and judicial persecution by physically moving as far away as possible from the East Coast to the West Coast, Los Angeles, Hollywoodland. Hollywood provided them the ideal climate to have sunny, well-lit films year-round, with a location fit for filming, especially desert landscapes for the popular Western, within a very supportive state that gave the filmmakers tax breaks. Unfortunately, Edison caught on to the ideal conditions, moving a company there himself, continuing his reign until 1915, when his patent was extirpated as it was claimed to have a monopoly on production. This enabled one of the independent companies to produce a film called Birth of a Nation. The racist propaganda with the Ku Klux Klan as its hero protagonist and a special holograph appearance by Jesus himself became commercially successful and demonstrated the entertainment industry as a lucrative business, which meant hordes of people migrating to the city to take advantage. One small step for Hollywood and a giant leap for racism. In the following 10s and 20s, a new breed of monopolizing formed called the studio system. 5 major studios, 2 minor studios, and 1 independent studio. They were solely in charge of production, distribution, and exhibition. The court recognized the studio system monopoly in 1948 after decades of mass production and effectively disbanded their hold on exhibition, allowing for independent studios to compete. So that, combined with the innovation of television, creating competition, some failed big-budget movies, and, the realization of inherent problems of glorifying violence, framing Native Americans to be vicious killers and Black people as animals and rapists, resulted in the new Hollywood American New Wave era being given the space to rise, with more down-to-earth stories about ethics and society united with experimental filmmaking. The next turning point in film was the release of watch-at-home movies, which made the industry in need of spectacles again to incite the masses to buy theater tickets, leading us into our modern never-enough superheroes era. Throughout different wars and technological advancement threats, Hollywood has adapted and survived. Hollywood survived because we always need to escape reality and are willing to pay for it. But what if this time we need to escape Hollywood? San Francisco was coated in orange mist this September. It reminded me of the earliest sepia filters on Instagram, another human-made mistake enjoyed at the time, but ultimately looked upon with horror in the future. Seeing the fire literally all around you, as well as the constant coverage of decay on the news, I find it peculiar that instead of fleeing, people are rebuilding in the same fire-prone areas. Why are people so desperate to stay in California? Not counting the endless amount of aspiring folks, a study in February 2020 showed that California's entertainment and digital media industry provides 740,000 jobs, with a wage increase of 25% between the year 2012 and 2018. If you ever wanted to make it in the industry, you probably own a copy of Save the Cat or some other book telling you your best shot is LA, because that's where the jobs are, the community that can provide you opportunities and resources. The general idea being, if you want to play with the big times, you need to be where the big times are. Cupid has been ruling today's modern studio systems, merging all the companies together. TV production companies merged with motion picture companies, giving birth to Californian production giants that can administrate financial security in the golden age of streaming. Disney must have been hit with a pretty powerful arrow because they've bought up massive amounts of production companies, including ABC, Marvel, Hulu, Pixar, Lucasfilm, and Fox, and will most likely continue to acquire more. So yeah, the company that owns this
I know you don't want me to, but I miss home.
Come here.
also owns this.
Well, a few million years ago, however you want to put it, it's not like we've been up there burning fossil fuels.
You want to marry a turtle, you can.
I went to the movie this weekend
with a gun. And surprise, surprise, I didn't kill anybody.
Jesus was a white man, too.
That's the problem with dressing with men and getting naked and showering with them. If one gets the flu, you all get the flu.
Just like that. Watching this and I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking what all of your viewers are thinking.
Which is?
What a bunch of dopes.
The smushing of companies accumulates a lot of real estate, which a lot of the money is tied up in, making way for even more theme parks like Universal and Disneyland that further funds the production. So staying in LA is lucrative for the big businesses, as they have real estate to produce in and build income revenues on. Staying in California also provides quick and easy access to professionals, equipment, and shooting locations. Another benefit of California has been the unions developed over the years, protecting workers by securing jobs to be safe, paid, and credited. California has one of the highest minimum wages, giving entertainment employees more stable conditions to work in than some of the other states that have as low as $725 an hour. And as previously mentioned, sunny California makes it a lot more predictable to film in and is thereby cheaper, which was one of the biggest allures in the first place. It's also the thing of California becoming people's home, and people seldom want to leave home unless absolutely necessary. Now, although a lot of people still believe Hollywood is the place to be for show business, a lot of the production is already taking place outside of Hollywood. Subsidies and tax breaks are offered by places like Georgia, the UK, and Canada, which all currently have more on-site production than Hollywood for the first time in over a century. Making movies is expensive, and exceedingly expensive in Hollywood due to the high cost of living and the large tax burden. The traditional Hollywood studios also get a lot of their revenue from theater viewings, which have been on a significant decline. With streaming studios on the rise, you have to include Apple TV+, Netflix, and Amazon Studios in the big studio system. Not needing to pour half their budget into marketing and relying on box office money allows for streaming studios to produce more movies and television with a lot more creative freedom. Not being tied up to any previously purchased LA property is also another incentive to move elsewhere, Netflix being the most notably aggressive in headhunting international talent and locations. In 2017, The Hollywood Reporter reported that only 10 of the highest grossing films were produced in California. California's numbers has since increased a little, but is still not the overpowering production hub we've known it to be, having the UK, Georgia, New York, British Columbia, and Ontario be strong competitors. The recent COVID outbreak has also proven that a lot of the work to be possible cross-continentally because of the internet. Hollywood's history repeats itself as the filmmakers flee for better working conditions where they are actually able to make what they want to. Seeing that the entertainment industry is first and foremost a business, it follows the money. It's all about dollar bill, y'all. So if Hollywood were to return to its former glory, they would need to match the subsidies and tax breaks and build lower income housing, at least for a start. But even then, it's the question of Hollywood on fire.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
By mid-month, the state had recorded possibly the hottest temperature ever measured on Earth, 130 degrees in Death Valley, and an otherworldly storm of lightning had cracked open the sky. From Santa Cruz to Lake Tahoe, thousands of bolts of electricity exploded down onto withered grasslands and forests, some of them already hollowed out by climate-driven infestations of beetles and kiln-dried by the worst 5-year drought on record. Soon, California was on fire. Over the next 2 weeks, 900 blazes incinerated 6 times as much land as all the state's 2019 wildfires combined, forcing 100,000 people from their homes. 3 of the largest fires in history burned simultaneously in a ring around the San Francisco Bay Area. One influential 2018 study, published in the Journal of the Association of Environmental and Resource Economists, suggests that 1 in 12 Americans in the southern half of the country will move toward California, the Mountain West, or the Northwest over the next 45 years because of climate influences alone. Such a shift in population is likely to increase poverty and widen the gulf between the rich and the poor. It will accelerate rapid, perhaps chaotic urbanization of cities ill-equipped for the burden, testing their capacity to provide basic services and amplifying existing inequities. It will eat away at prosperity, dealing repeated economic blows to coastal, rural, and southern regions, which could in turn push entire communities to the brink of collapse.
So yeah, not even counting the cost of fires, climate change will already cost Hollywood because of climate migration, putting a complete halt in their effort to rebuild their empire through funding. There will not only be a mass migration to California, but also from it, as the bottom part of America will eventually become inhabitable due to the primarily man-made fires, loss of water supply, unyielding crops, etc. I remember listening to a podcast back in the day, a comedy podcast from LA about doomsday prepping, and the host mentioning how living there has prepped them for Armageddon, based on the interloping blackouts, droughts, earthquakes, floods, crimes, and fires. So all these calamities are not a new issue, but an exasperated one. Hollywood has served its purpose, but it seems that a complete demolition of the system is in order. A demolition that can hopefully build something newer and better, like getting rid of predatory people in power, getting a larger variety of movies, limiting big company production monopolies, and improving upon the previously complete lack of diversity, just to mention a few things. And as clearly shown in the article,
and then asked Keenan, "Should I be selling my house and getting..." He cut me off. Yes,